Greetings. The other stereotype that really concerns me, and I know because I've grown up in the church all my life, and I've always been taught that the end time is going to come from the Antichrist imposing its law and imposing everyone to worship as the Antichrist. And we know that all the reformers, Martin Luther and all the reformers, identified the Roman Church, the Vatican, the Pope as the Antichrist. And so we've grown up with this concept that, you know, the battle at the end is going to be over a day of worship, whether you worship on Sunday or Saturday, on the Sabbath, and we're all going to be forced to worship the Roman way. And, you know, the truth is, Adam and Eve were warned that there was a deceiver, that Satan was around. But when Satan came to Eve in the Garden of Eden, he never came clothed as Satan himself. He never claimed as an angel. He took on the disguise of a serpent, and he used a serpent. And so Satan has always used deception. And so in the end time, we're going to see exactly the same thing play out. We're not going to see this religious order of the Roman Catholic Church being forced on the entire world to believe as we have had the stereotype idea. The concept of what's going to happen is absolutely spot on. But the stereotype that I believe most of us have of these final events is different to what's playing out in the end. Satan has a different disguise. And I want to point you to this cartoon, political cartoon that was drawn. I do not know the artist. I don't know his affiliation. I don't know what he believes. But this cartoon really depicts very accurately how the end is going to happen. And what's interesting, it has the title called The Preliminary Round. And so in this ring, now most of us have at some stage seen some boxing, or whether we've watched a match or not, it's irrelevant, but we know what takes place in the boxing rink. And so we have this boxing rink which represents the world, this earth where we are on. And you have the one boxer, and he's got the world as his head, illustrating mankind. And mankind is now having a fight with COVID. And remember, COVID happened over 3 years ago, a huge event, massive event. The whole world followed exactly the same procedures. Probably the first union of the entire world on an issue, the way they treated COVID. And so here's the world, the mankind fighting with COVID, and eventually you can see mankind gives COVID a knockout blow. And so when you zoom out of that picture again, you see something climbing into the ring. This monster, this huge monster climbing into the ring. Massive, powerful, and makes COVID look like a joke. Remember the title, Preliminary Round. So that's the one before the real big fight. That's the test. I know in boxing they will normally have a number of fights before they have the big fight that's coming on. Everyone's coming to see maybe it's a world fight, and before that they'll have a number of preliminary rounds. Well, we have COVID as the preliminary round, which I believe depicts exactly what the plan is. And so you have this monster climbing into the ring, and he's called climate change. Now, the interesting thing of climate change is looking at the earth as the creator of mankind. Evolution started in 1844 when Charles Darwin spoke about evolution. He issued his first essay, and evolution has now been accepted through the scientific world as the answer to how we came about. Some Christians will say, well, God played a role, he used evolution, and so together with nature and evolution, God created the earth. But it's all the same belief. The belief system is that nature is our creator, and we are created through nature, through evolution, through millions of years. And so science has found this as a foundation of their belief system. And if we look at it, evolution is based on faith, not on science, because it cannot be proven. So it is a faith-based, so it's actually a religion. And so behind this climate change, which we have evolution, we have what we call an encyclical issued by the Vatican stating that our world is cannot continue in the state it is, and unless we do dramatic things and we make dramatic changes with mankind, we will all be wiped out. And this is a plea to the entire world that we need to save our planet. We need to save our planet, or else we will all be destroyed. Now, what's interesting is we know that God is coming. We know the second coming, Christ is coming. And God has said that He will destroy this world. He will clean it up. Everything will be destroyed on this earth. And a new world and a new heaven will be created after this. And so it's all piggybacking on this idea, but the idea is that nature, if not protected, is going to destroy mankind. And so now what we find is the whole world has become drunk with this teaching, this doctrine of the wine of the Vatican, which is the head pushing climate change. Now, you might say to me, yes, I believe we need to save the planet, and I believe we need to look after what God has created, because we are the custodians of nature. However, the root belief of climate change coming through the Vatican and through the world today is that nature is the creator and man is actually the imposter. Man is the one who's destroying his environment. And so what we are going to see, we're going to see a worldwide push to save the planet. And in order to save something, you need to start making laws. And so what we're going to see is we're going to see huge amount of laws coming in to govern the planet, and so that we reduce our carbon footprint. And we're going to enter into the period of Revelation where it talks about that no man might buy or save he that has the mark of the beast. And so we will not be able to buy or sell unless we have come on board with this climate change issue, and we will not be able to travel, we will not be able to do whatever we want, because we are all standing together in solidarity, in unity, to save the planet for our children and for the generations that come. And so instead of this religious order that we have this preconceived idea about, which I have had, which I've been taught for all these years I have been in the church, it's not going to come in that form that we have all expected it. No one expected COVID, but yet for a year, many churches were closed. People couldn't get baptized, people couldn't get married, people couldn't interact with each other, people weren't allowed to have gatherings, whether religious or irreligious. We saw a dramatic amount of laws put in place. We are going to see more and more of our freedom removed on the concept of saving this planet. And this is the vehicle, like Satan used the serpent to deceive Eve, this is the vehicle that the Vatican is going to use to deceive the world, and the whole world will wander after this beast power, and the whole world will be drunk with this concept of climate change, and we will see more and more laws. Eventually you will not be able to decide where you want to live. You won't be able to decide how far you can drive to work. You won't be able to decide whether you can go and visit your family overseas. You won't be able to decide where you want to go on holiday. All of these things will be controlled, and you will, if you do not grab onto this narrative, if you do not accept this narrative, there are fines going to be imposed, and eventually you are not going to buy or sell. And remember, the Bible tells us that people will think they're doing what is right when they persecute us, because we're going to look like this people. Well, why don't you want to support this climate change issue? And of course, at the culmination of this is going to be a day where we're going to find we must let nature rest. And so we must as a group of people, as a world, we must set aside one day to let the planet rest from all the labor and the overwork that man has exposed it to. We need to let the planet rest. And they're going to set a day. This is already planned. This is on the books. This is things that have already been done. And this day is going to be a day, and guess what day that's going to be? That day is going to be Sunday, but it's not going to come from a so-called religious perspective, but it's going to come from a solidarity of all mankind, all religions. Everyone must come together, and we must have You can be whatever religion you are, but as long as you agree with this concept of climate change, which is evolution as your foundation of where we come from, then you will be able to buy or sell. And if you don't, then you will not be able to buy or sell. But those who, when this mandate is set forth and you have to agree to this mandate in order to buy and sell, when you accept this mandate of climate change, you will be receiving the mark of the beast, because you will be wandering after the wine of Babylon, and you will be accepting that God, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, is not the creator, but evolution is the creator. So let us not be deceived. The concepts are the same, but the vehicle is different to what all of us expected the end to come in. Be warned, warn others, and get ready and prepare for this time that's coming ahead. Because this time of no buy, no sell is going to be a long period of time. You know, when you look at this picture and you look at this monster climbing in, what's interesting is you look at the head of that monster. What does that head of that monster look like? It looks like a sun. Because climate change is Baal worship, the worship of the sun. The sun was the highest deity in Baal worship. Nothing new under the sun, nothing's changed. It's still the same thing. Israel is still being misled by Baal worship even today. And so at the head of this climate change thing is the worship of the sun. And this is why a day aside will be put aside. On which day? Sunday. And so, brothers and sisters, let us not be deceived by this thing. Let us not be a part of it. And let us prepare for this time that's coming. And you know what? If you look at this monster to the small little guy called mankind in the ring, what's interesting is he's slow, and he's probably not going to be as fast as the little guy. You know, the little guy is always quicker and faster than the monster. And so this monster may not catch you. You might slip away, but eventually that monster, when he catches you, it's all over. God bless, and may we all be prepared for the times that lie ahead of us.